and so willing. And the leadership, they take advantage of our most precious assets. That's what they call them, but they are our precious asset. Our sons, our daughters, our brothers, our sisters, our husbands, our wives, and they use them and abuse them. And absolutely, they do not keep them safe. They destroy them with this terrible quality of life because they've made them part of their business plan to sell drugs to the whores and the blow and 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 if they don't like it, then they retaliate against them severely, continuously, suiciding them, murdering them, raping them. And if they don't like that, they are going to go after the family. They'll go after the family. And it is just the crime is off the charts. And here we have in the news today Sergeant Major Michael Perry III pays a special visit to Fort Bliss leaders. Why? Why? Because of quality of life on Fort Bliss. And, so he's going to pay lip service without securing Fort Bliss, without stopping the fentanyl from coming on Fort Bliss, without stopping the rapes going on Fort Bliss, the suicides, the retaliation for whistleblowing, the retaliation for not participating in their Vanity Fair, very evil criminal business schemes that they have, allowing them to extort the American people, taking these weapons and putting them in the tactical move storage units and selling them over the border into Mexico. Um, you know, Having all these weapons that are not even registered in the barracks, illegally, with just the pornography, the pedophilia, the 14-year-old girl living in the barracks being, is this quality of life? I'm in the barracks and right next door, this guy has a 14-year-old female that, oh, you can't tell. You can't tell on her because she's the stepdaughter of the guard of the the director of emergency services. So you can't tell because you're going to be retaliated against, right? And then the CID's in on it, right? And the DES is in on it. She's living there being pimped out, prostituted out. This is pedophilia. This is and with all of our phones and everything, they take these pictures. This is what people have told me for years now. They'll take videos, they'll post them up, which is pornography, which is child torture, and then you have the DA, which is a district attorney. And what is the district attorney's job? To identify crime. It's kind of like Veltri. She doesn't even know how to identify crime. She has a complaint out from a whistleblower because he was being interrogated because of Richard, right? And ordered by his leader, Fort Bliss leader, to answer the questions, violating his civil rights right in front of her. And she didn't even say, stop it, you're violating his civil rights. This is an IG complaint. This is an internal affairs complaint. This is a criminal complaint. He's a whistleblower. He has whistleblower rights. But see, a senior agent, whatever she is, because she's up to no good, she's corrupt, she's dirty, Jessica Veltri, doesn't even know how to identify crime. And she's the very person that wrote this 700 page. She doesn't even know how to identify crime. And this is what the DA is supposed to do. They're also supposed to. Bill Hicks, he's the criminal. He's the one that needs to be arrested. That's not what I said. This is what David Fisher pointed out with Reyes Mata reporting it, that he tampered with government document, with government documents, with government records. He tampered with. He's a DA. Before he even starts, he's already committing crimes, and he's supposed to be the one identifying crimes so that he can record those crimes, document those crimes, so that we can ask for open records, right? Because we fund it all. We fund their jobs, and so they need to document to see what they're doing, and then to prosecute the crime so that we can have a good quality of life. But now we have Sergeant Major Michael Perry coming to visit Fort Bliss to talk to the soldiers about quality of life. They are so broken, y'all. They are so broken. And that's why we can't stop, because they're going and speaking to all of our most precious assets, our sons and daughters, and all they're doing is flapping their lips. That's all they're doing. That's why we have now institutional support by other agencies, because we've been writing letter and letter and letter and letter, and we have all this proof now. We can hand them the proof and say, hey, we've been telling Sean Bernabe, we've been telling P.P. McGee, we've been telling Marlon Soto, we've been telling you about Tavita Nuusa losing his badge, and Veltri, the CID senior agent, right? Senior agent doesn't even know how to identify crime. And so she doesn't even report that Tavita Nuusa lost his badge, which is, totally part of Richard's case, and shatters the narrative that she tries to dream up, because she doesn't even know how to see, doesn't know how to investigate. She's a forensics person, expert or whatever. She didn't even go to the crime scene. I mean, and then, you go to, then you say, okay, she really was selective in what she put in that report, and she doesn't know how to identify crime, right? And she didn't even report that Marlon Soto didn't even go and interview a key whistleblower in our son's case that had hard evidence of what he was whistleblowing. She didn't even write that in there. And so, you have all of this information for a complaint, proven information with evidence, right? And so who do you go to? You go to IG. Well, who's IG? IG of the Army right now is Lieutenant General Donna Martin, who was so compromised. This is it's called conflict of interest, okay? Because if she has to inspect what Veltri is doing, she's inspecting her own leadership, because she was the provost marshal, going to the task force fight, Richard Halliday, sitting in the middle leading it in her civilian clothing, sitting like an Indian, right? Contacting us the day before January 6th saying, oh, you better not go. Like, okay, so what do you know what's going to happen? I mean, she's so compromised. And during that time, she was the provost marshal over Fort Hood and Fort Bliss. She was provost marshal over Glennon Oakley Jr.'s death. Okay? CID was slated, Marlon Soto, to investigate his death. Maybe it was Tavita Nuusa. But Tavita Nuusa lost his badge. He was made to hand it in. Hand it over, Tavita Nuusa. You're no good. You're a dirty agent. And we, for 6 months before he even retired, he did not have his badge. We know that. It could have been a little longer, but for at least 6 months, right? And So, and now you have Sergeant Major Michael Perry going and talking about right now. And, I think that that is a bunch of baloney. I don't think that that's why he went there. He went there to talk about something else, right? He went there to talk about something else. And, you know, it, it, did he mention Richard Halliday? You know, is he going there talking to Eisenhower about Richard Halliday, or to the other sergeant major? Is he a messenger? I don't know. I don't know. We can all hope, right? We can all hope that that's what's going on because, uh, there's so many conflicts of interest here. Just the fact that the IG of the Army that's who you're supposed to go to in order for them to police themselves. Oh, I'll see what I did wrong. I'll, I'll let you know if I need to go to prison or not, right? If I need to go to prison or if I need to face the death penalty, I'll let you know, right? Oh, yeah, that Jessica Veltri, she didn't do anything wrong. Because if she does do something wrong, then that will look bad on me and I might face the death penalty, right? I might be arrested. I mean, that's what is going on here. And so I'm just wondering what Sergeant Major Michael Perry III was really saying at Fort Bliss. Um, yeah. And going back to Bill Hicks and identifying crime, he was brought in. Um, he was okay. Tell me what you think about this. So we've got the open records that prove that Justin Underwood. If you need an attorney in El Paso, don't use Justin Underwood, okay? Because he is a bad guy. A bad guy. Okay? And not in a good way. He's not a bad guy in a good way. Sometimes you want a lawyer that is just really tough, right? Really tough. That can speak out and that knows you know, I understand that. But Justin Underwood is a bad guy. Okay? You don't want to use him. And why do I say that? Because we have open records that show that he was colluding with Bob Moore of El Paso Matters, but with Bill Hicks before Bill Hicks took the office. And what was he doing? They were looking up how to unseat an official. They wanted to unseat Yvonne Rosales. And they even gave a presentation on it, how to do it. And then in the open records, they were talking about it. And then this letter to whom it may concern. And it was leaked then exclusively to Bob Moore, right? Because when Yvonne Rosales fired John Briggs, who is a bad guy, he's a bad guy. This is these wolves, right, that go after Lady Justice. But these are bad attorneys. They're up to no good and they're bad guys. They do not help our quality of life. Matter of fact, they do quite the opposite. They make our quality of life worse because they let murderers walk. We have walking murderers around El Paso right now because they are not doing their job that we've paid them to do. Big money, millions of dollars, with really nice buildings and air condition and parking spots. They get their own parking spot, okay? And all of their little perks that they get. And what do? They become bad guys, okay? Part of a criminal enterprise to hurt us. Because when you do not do your job in the DA's office, you're not identifying crime. And we have so much crime right now at the border. And what's involved in that? The organs trafficking, the children's trafficking, the human trafficking, the the lots of pedophilia, lots of drugs, lots of corruption when it comes to ownership, because when they bring over the drugs, they have to have a place to store them, right? And so, of course, with the weapons, the same thing. You have to have the property to store them, to store these tactical move storage units. That's what Kilometer 29, I believe, is all about. And, is also a suspect of the crime scene. Fort Bliss, the barracks, Fort Bliss, the crime scene. Kilometer 29 in Juarez, Mexico, in Chihuahua, state of Chihuahua, crime scene. Because Richard, when you say, what is she talking about? There's two crime scenes. I think there might be three crime scenes, because I think there's a house involved in this. And because it involves dismembership. If it involves dismembership and the house is connected to mortuary affairs, and it's connected to Tavita Nuusa, who, we have evidence of bodily harm, and he has surgical skills, and comes from a family of mortuary affairs connected people, and we were bullied by mortuary affairs, and um, you know uh, there is the organ transferring, and there is the dismemberment of dead people to hide them. And so, when you're saying, why can't you get Richard's remains? Yeah, they dismembered, don't forget, the army dismembered Vanessa Guillen. They dismembered her, they burnt her, they dug a foxhole, they put lime in it, they put her remains in there, they put lime over it, they put concrete over it, they put dirt over it. They really did everything in their ability to hide her remains. Praise be to God that wild animals dug around and made a scene, and these line workers found her remains. So, this is, thank you. Thank you. I can't imagine the Guillen family having to suffer not knowing where their daughter is, right? Because I understand that feeling. Where's Richard? Because they dismembered him. Okay, we have all the proof that we need. Um, and Tavita Nuusa lost his badge and is absolutely top suspect with Dallas Hart, with Leilani Hart, with Jay Paulin. They are the top suspects in doing so much harm, and there's others too. There's others too. And when I say things like this on a live stream, um, it, it's because we have the information. Okay, we have the information, and there needs to be arrest. Why isn't there arrest? Well, I think they're coming. I think they're coming now. And there has been a real turn of, other outsiders from other agencies, and absolutely things are happening. So keep praying, because when you have, but let's talk about Chris Grant right now, okay? When you have the likes of Chris Grant is a great example, because if you do just a 15-minute, wrap your head around his situation and what he said, just hunt down on Google all of the media that he is in. And he's a media darling. Okay, he's a total media darling. What does that tell you? That he has connections with the media, right? That's what that tells you. Because let me tell you, it's not easy to be a media darling. You have to have some privilege to be a media darling. And, you know, you can say, oh, it's because he was shot at the Walmart. Um, no, there was a lot of people shot. Okay. There was a lot of people, over 20 people shot. Okay. Um, and I'm talking about that are still alive that could do an interview. And there was so many people there, right? Which is really interesting because when you go through and look at who are the media darlings and you go and do background checks, it gets very interesting because you see a pattern. You see a huge pattern. And Chris, okay, let's talk about Chris just for a minute. We're a gun-toting family. Okay, I'm just going to tell you that. Of course, we're a gun-toting family with a lot of cameras around. Of course we are. We've been threatened so bad, right? And of course, my husband is 30-year military, right? So when you think about what Chris went through, he said he threw bottles of soda at the shooter. Okay, well, we know that that's not true because El Paso Police Department said that's not true. Just like it was Reyes Mata that reported on Bill Hicks, committing all these crimes, even, tampering with records. And, he was involved in the funeral business because he was, before he became the district attorney, he was representing Purchase Funeral Homes, which is huge, huge. Okay, so that he should not even be on the Walmart case because he has a conflict of interest because Purchase is the one where handled all the remains from the Walmart case, right? So and he's representing Purchase. So if they did anything wrong, and I don't know, that sounds like a conflict of interest to me. Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks needs to be, not me saying this. This is what Reyes Mata. This is what others have found out about Bill Hicks, and it's bad, and he needs to be arrested. Absolutely. He can no longer be district attorney for El Paso. Not when he's committing these crimes, right? So that's my opinion. But going back to Chris Grant on August 3rd, 2019 was in that Walmart in El Paso, and he was in the produce department right at the door area, and he said he saw the shooter, and he was throwing the soda bottles. Well, we know that El Paso Police Department said no, that was a lie. That was a lie. And of course, they had to make it a lie because Patrick Crucius, if you're throwing soda bottles at someone, then you can identify that someone because they will have splashes of soda on them because soda explodes upon impact. And when it explodes, it just doesn't pour out on the floor, it sprays everywhere. So, and Patrick Crucius's clothes were very, very clean. So, and there wasn't even any blood on it, right? And then they say that he was a white supremacist, but um, he surrenders himself to a Hispanic police officer, right? Which is, the, it, come on. And then he's autistic on top of that. And then he's suffering from a severe mental, quote, severe mental health condition, close quote, by the judge. That's not me saying that. That's the judge. So, absolutely, something is fishy, so fishy, but they wanted the community to believe that this was a white supremacist, Trump, you know, loving, whatever. No, that is just such a lie. It was such a lie. Patrick Crusius's father was experimenting on mind control. Mind control. Yeah, and where are they? Right? Where are they pleading for their son? Um, or apologizing uh, to all the victims, right? But you know, who are the real victims, right? Who are the victims? Because we have so many witnesses that said there was more than one shooter. So this is a problem with Chris Grant saying, I threw soda bottles at the perpetrator. That just, there was no evidence of that. Or maybe he did, because he contends that he did, but that landed on a different shooter, right? That was a different shooter, it identified a different shooter, and that's what they don't want. So maybe he did. Okay, maybe he did that, and they just, you know, and I don't know, where is he? Where is he right now? Anyway, where is he? Is he still in El Paso? I mean, it would be nice for him to call in, because I have some questions and I would ask him. You said you were hit by two bullets. Those two bullets were from an AK 47. An AK 47 bullet is 7.6, whatever, 6.7 or something, 6.2 millimeters, right? I mean, this is a very, very deadly weapon. This is a deadly weapon. And, you got hit by two bullets, and you said it was like hand, um, a hand grenade, right? A hand grenade where you pull the pin and that it goes off in your spine, right? So you're in the produce, you get hit by two bullets in the gut, right? In the gut, right in the abdomen. And the grenade goes off, so you say, you're in pain, it's terrible, whatever. But you're walking around and you're making your way to the automotive department in the Walmart, where you meet your guardian angel, Donna Sifford. Donna Sifford, who has conflicts of interest, y'all. She has conflicts of interest, and she didn't have her gun. She didn't have her sidearm. What's going on? Right? So she patches him up. So I don't know. My husband, being a medic, being a PA, 30 years in the Army, he's like, okay, maybe she used some kind of automotive aid thing. No, but he needed blood. He needed blood. He needed an aid kit. Um, and, she's just patching him up over there in the automotive without her gun, and, not even, I don't know. And then she walks him out to a truck that's owned by a off-duty police officer, that can um, take him to Texas Tech um, Health Science Medical Center, or whatever that is, hospital. You know, that's, yeah, uh, he can be, I'm just thinking those were those weren't AK-47. Who else was shooting, right? Who else was shooting? It had to be smaller bullets. Um, yeah, something is going on. Something is not right. And I would like to ask Chris about it, because he is a perpetual criminal. He has dozens and dozens of incidences on his record. He's a criminal. He's a total criminal. He got arrested by the Secret Service, yet he's protected. They didn't want to extradite him, um, which leads to, yeah, the next event that happened. That one 23-year-old Fort Bliss soldier that is, not living his best life, that's for sure, that murdered the 19-year-old in Chihuahua, Mexico, right there across the border in Juarez, the city of Juarez. Um, he's going to be extradited to Mexico. A Fort Bliss soldier, murderer, is going to be extradited to Mexico, to the Mexican system, to the Mexican prison. And guess what's going to happen? Yeah, yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah. And I mean, they must be, I don't know, they must want Mexico to do the right thing, the dirty work, and because they have a DA there that doesn't even know how to identify crime. Oh, you killed that Mexican lady over across the border, 19 years old with a child. Oh, it's okay, no problem. I mean, we just have crime everywhere right now, right? I mean, this is the DA's office right now. This is uh, you're talking about Nieto, and Nieto is going to the FBI agent, Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr. He is compromised. He is compromised. That's why we're naming him out. Tavita Nuusa, compromised. Mario Rascon Ortiz, the medical examiner, not even an American citizen. And who brought him over? That was Jaime Esparza. That was the those attorneys. They want him in that position in the mortuary affairs, right? So he's compromised. Um, we have one compromised person after the other, and they all have their big position in these different agencies, like Customs Border Protectors, like CID, like FBI, like DEA, like DHS, like the command structure on Fort Bliss, um, ATF is interesting. ATF is interesting. They seem to not mess around. They seem maybe we need to write some letters to ATF because they don't seem to mess around. It's very interesting. Um, so an IG and all of them, IG is so compromised because it is Donna Martin. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Any questions? Thank you, Anicia, for coming on. Yeah, it's all coming together, and we're going back and rechecking things because we got like strip pictures early on that I never posted up because I didn't want to do that, especially to young mothers. I didn't want to know, but they were sending it, and I think it was a trap. And I'm glad that we didn't fall for it. They were sending us all kinds of stuff, and then they started bullying us and everything. They were trying to direct the narrative, and they were trying to trap us into doing something that is also not uh, legal or nice or anything. So, you have to be very, very good in this world. You really do. Because the traps are everywhere, the threats are everywhere, the temptations, they try to put temptations in your way. And you really have to be very, very good. Very, very good. Yeah. So we didn't get those into those traps. I hope not anyway. And but we're going back and revisiting. And of course, we're working on our response to that big long report. There's so many, it's so bad, y'all. And they just leave so much work for us because we're the ones that are doing the true investigative work. So thank you so much for helping us. Um, and this whole Chris Grant thing, because he has connections, y'all. He has connections, and I'm very close at revealing all of that. But when we got the audio of CID Nuusa, everything kind of stopped a little bit because we had to address that with a bunch of letters because that really did shatter the narrative of this whole case. The whole case is now shattered, which, from the CID perspective. So thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Okay. Thank you. Please share. Please share everything that we're putting on. And if you don't see a lot of things being added, um, share some older things because there's so much going on behind the scenes because we're in the middle of investigations now. Investigations. So please share it like Richard's letter, pictures of Richard, um, the memes that, I'm making more memes. Please share those to get the word out in a simple way um, about Richard's case and what was happening with the Walmart case and everything like that. So thank you, everyone. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing.